Welcome to EVTN News, your source for the week's news. It wasn't, after a pretty packed week full of news, I didn't see a lot of notable news stories. Now, Pope Francis did go to the hospital again and continue to pray for a Catholic Pope um, because he makes appointments, bishop appointments like Bishop Stowe, who, yeah, is the most heretical bishop in the United States. I would suggest. You could argue that McElroy is pretty terrible, but I would say Stowe is probably worse. The worst bishop in the United States, even worse than Supich, maybe. Um, and actually, I do expect that Stowe will be appointed as the Archbishop of Cincinnati here in the next half a year, in the next 6 months. But we'll see. He wrote an article for Commonweal magazine, which is possibly even worse than America magazine. Well, I say possibly. Is that even possible? That there could be a worse publication than America? But Commonweal, they really give America a run for their money. And so he wrote an article for this publication. No surprise. I don't think he'd. I don't think any Catholic publication would give him the opportunity to write something, especially when it contains rotten garbage. So, if you want to read the whole thing and make yourself angry, you can do that, but I'll just read you a paragraph. He wrote a lot, by the way. I didn't read the whole thing. I didn't want to make myself angry. He said it is easy to see why the National Eucharistic Revival has received far more energy, attention, and resources in the U.S. Church. There is a plan, there is marketing, there is a beginning and an end point. There is substantial funding, and there is a problem to be addressed, namely the concern, not the fact or reality, that Catholics do not believe sufficiently in the real presence. Instead of ensuring a Eucharistic centrality to the synodal process, allowing for an organic discernment about our Eucharistic understanding, and my thing just shut off on me. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. It just shut off. Instead of ensuring a Eucharistic centrality to the synodal process, allowing for organic discernment about our Eucharistic understanding, plans for a mega event featuring plenty of preconciliar piety and theology have replaced the focus on the Synod for a Synodal Church in the USCCB. It does not strike me as coincidental that much of the Eucharistic revival focuses on Eucharistic adoration, passive in nature, and so offers an easy alternative to the active engagement of walking together synodality. Bishop Stowe, in this paragraph, it doesn't seem like, does he believe in the real presence of the Eucharist? I think someone needs to ask him that. Do you believe in the real presence of the Eucharist? And I would expect that he would give you, it's a yes or no question, and I expect that he would not answer it in a yes or no answer. Think about that. Because if your immediate reaction is not yes, then what is it? It's no. Bishop Stowe, do you believe in the real presence of the Eucharist? I don't think you'd get, if you called into the Diocese of Lexington, Kentucky, I don't think you'd get an answer. Of course, I don't think I'll ever see him in person. Probably wouldn't want to. But do you have the guts to pull a George Neumeier? Ask him why he supports LMNOPs so strongly. Why does he endorse LMNOP activity when the Catholic Church condemns it? All these questions. Do we have any answers? I think in our own minds we can kind of reason our way through it a little bit. All right, fake sacraments in Cleveland. This isn't like the invalid masses, but there's an article from the National Catholic Distorter. Sometimes it's good to read. Sometimes it's good to read stuff like that because it reads as parody, even though it's actually real and they actually believe in um, heresy. But sometimes it reads as parody. Actually, a while ago, the Distorter, there was such a parody. There was an article that was hilarious. The priest was doing some traditional Novus Ordo things, and so the parishioners were so outraged that they got this like Novus Ordo. What would you say? Like they had this unapproved mass in an auto body shop, and that was a hilarious article based on the quotes. Um, Anyway, this article was written by a priest who does not call himself father. You know, there's some red flags there. He's the current pastor of St. Peter Parish in Cleveland. I wonder why the bishop allows that, but anyway, you'll see. You'll see once I read through this. He wrote, "It was just a week or so into Lent when I attended the evening reconciliation service. This was several years ago. He said, as one of nearly 200 people present, I was surprised to not see any other clergy milling about, ready to take their stations for the hearing of confessions. Instead, after an opening prayer, poignant scripture readings, and a provocative homily, only the pastor stood in front of a carved wooden crucifix as all began to move forward. The line formed before the 4th century cross and corpus. One by one, members paused within reach of the pastor for just a few moments. Remember, this is a reconciliation service. He placed his hands on the head of each penitent, 2 heads bowed, an arm's length away, then the next, and so it went. As I approached, I heard no telling of sins, no words of absolution. So I just did what the person in front of me had done. It was all intention and petition, silent and sacred. It was simply sacramental. And you are simply a heretic. It's not sacramental. There's nothing sacramental about someone laying his hand on your head. When you're pretending it's confession, it's fake. It's a fake sacrament. And this priest is a pastor of a church in Cleveland. He doesn't understand what the sacraments are, or maybe he doesn't believe it. I think he understands what the sacraments are, he just doesn't believe in them. Further down the article, we decided to ask a female leader to stand beside me under the outstretched right arm of the crucified Christ and offer the same gesture of blessing as an option for penitence. So they're doing fake sacraments, but then there's a woman that they're pretending is doing a fake sacrament. That's even worse. Not really. I mean, it's all fake. We also asked a male layperson to stand on my left. Members would be able to choose 1, 2, or all 3 of us for their sacramental encounter. So he digs in about these fake sacraments. They're fake. Of course, encounter is a buzzword of the Vatican II, or the Novus Ordo sect. But he also encounter. Yeah, I wonder why it's a favorite word. Anyway, on the evening of the reconciliation service, we 3 took our places under Jesus' carved embrace, and the lines formed. The solemnity was palpable. Many remarked later they could not find words worthy of the power and the presence of that evening. Well, yeah, they didn't speak words. They couldn't find words because they weren't going to confession. It was fake. And all this because a young female pastoral minister suggested that there are sacramental moments when a woman should stand in for the persona Christi. Heretic. If the church intends to be fully present to her members, she needs to recognize the urgency of women's call to serve equally in the sacramental roles and rituals of her tradition. In the end, there could be longer lines. Yeah, right. More dignity and just as much forgiveness. No. No, there can't be. And you're a heretic. The Diocese of Cleveland should suspend this fake priest and his fake lay people from his fake sacraments. Ban him from doing these fake sacraments because some people might actually think they're real. No wonder we're confused. And he thinks that we need more women in the ministry. Yeah, that's going to bring a lot more people into the church. You already feminized the liturgy. Let's make it more effeminate. A lot of men will come, right? Just look at the Anglicans. In the photo, the priest is wearing a rainbow mask. What a shock. This next story is hilarious. 3 priests presided over a Eucharist in honor of the 10th anniversary of Francis' pontificate in front of a giant Bergoglio statue in Aguilares, Argentina. Take a look at the links in the description. The link in the description, you can see the photos. The clumsy statue was created by a certain Ruben Pereira and unveiled in the presence of local politicians. It appears to be about 20 feet in height. That's what I estimated. Maybe taller, maybe shorter. I don't know. But take a look at it. Get a good laugh. But there are some groups of people who have canonized Francis as a saint. Although there's plenty of speculation that he will be declared a heretic by a Catholic pope in the future. Also, the Abu Dhabi. I heard about this from Taylor Marshall, but I guess I think it was mentioned a long time before that, before he mentioned it recently, that the human fraternity, what's that called? Like the 3 chapels of the Abrahamic houses of prayer or something in Abu Dhabi, whatever that's called. So it's called His Holiness Francis Chapel, the alleged Catholic structure is called His Holiness Francis Chapel. It's named after Pope Francis. Churches in the United States are named after saints, and this one's named after Pope Francis. There's a big difference, and of course, as Catholics, do we even treat that as a Catholic chapel? I don't know. It's interesting. There's no crucifix in the supposed Catholic chapel, so it's not even in compliance with basic canon law requirements. But neither are other churches, certain places. It's disgusting. All right, a little bit of lighthearted. Well, I don't know if it's going to be lighthearted or not, but to me, it's just become a parody of itself. What would you call it? Days of Our Lives, Fort Worth edition. Oh, welcome to the live chat. Hello, everyone. Okay, so the ongoing standoff between Bishop Michael Olsen of Fort Worth and a local Carmelite monastery of nuns took another surreal turn last week, and this is the Pillar reporting. They've actually done a very unbiased presentation of the situation, although they've been posting about it a lot, and it's been turning people against Bishop Olsen even more so than some of them already were. The latest developments came Wednesday when the Nuns' lawyer saying they had lodged a criminal complaint against Olsen's intervention of the monastery, and police interviewed Mother Teresa Agnes Gerlach of Jesus Crucified on June 6th in relation to phones and computers taken by the bishop's team from the convent in the course of his canonical investigation, alleging effectively that Olsen had stolen the nuns' property. Arlington police have confirmed the criminal complaint, telling the Fort Worth Star-Telegram that the department has launched an investigation to determine whether any criminal offenses have occurred, which is standard anytime a criminal complaint is made. So he's under investigation. He's under a criminal investigation for stealing property. The lawyer's statement triggered a furious reaction from the Fort Worth Diocese, which issued a statement denouncing the nuns' civil legal counsel for another transparent attempt to spread baseless and outrageous accusations regarding Bishop Olsen's legitimate investigation, which they called an attempt to embarrass Bishop Olsen and undermine his authority. The diocese went further, saying Wednesday it had initiated and is in communication with the Arlington Police Department regarding serious concerns it has regarding the use of marijuana and edibles at the monastery, along with what it called other issues that the diocese will address at another time and in a proper forum. So he accused the nuns of marijuana use. All right. Was it true? I would expect that to be at like a Buddhist monastery. Oh, did I just say that? Attached to the diocese statement to the press were what it said are photos provided by a confidential informant within the monastery which speak for themselves and raise serious questions. Oh, so they showed the supposed supposed paraphernalia. Raised serious questions the bishop the bishop is tirelessly working to address with law enforcement and in private. Well, it's public because the diocese released it to the public. So this has kind of become a parody of itself, but someone's going down. Someone's absolutely going down. It's either a monastery or Bishop Olsen, or maybe both. Bishop Olsen, I think at this point, based on how the tides have turned, or, well, what's been going on, he's been digging in, and I think he's digging in, but I think he's digging himself a hole that he won't be able to climb out of, and public pressure may force him to resign. I don't know. It always does. It always does. It always forces people to resign. Even bad guys like Cardinal Wuerl, who had the support of Pope Francis, resigned. So what's to say that Olsen won't? Is he a bad guy? I don't know. But it'll also be an interesting reaction. Oh yeah, by the way, the USCCB meeting is this week. It'll be an interesting reaction by his fellow bishops in Orlando. I guess I'll talk just for a short time about the USCCB meeting at the end of this video. All right, there's a Francis Cardinal who is married with a son. Tomas and Celestiano told Bolivision, I guess that's a Bolivian newspaper, that their uncle Toribio Porco Tacona, he's a cardinal, and Francis created a cardinal in June of 2018, is indeed married and the father of a son. The two sons of Porco's sisters, said that our uncle got married in 1992 when he was a simple priest. There are registry documents with dates, registry numbers, and his signature that prove the facts. Yikes. However, in 1992, Porco was already a bishop. So he got married while he was a bishop. According to a news publication, the two nephews lived with Porco during the period of his alleged concubinage with Mrs. L. Ramos. The two said that on April 3rd, 1992, Ramos gave birth to a boy whom Porco continues to present as my son. Porco and Ramos got married in December of 1992. According to Bolivision, Porco's mother reported the matter to Archbishop Edmundo Abastoflor, who was the Bishop of Potosi at the time. So the bishop knew about it, didn't care. This now cardinal has a child. Anyway, all right. And now he's a Francis cardinal. Francis picks the most interesting characters to name cardinals, for sure. But generally, he hasn't been too consistent with picking Catholics. Another one, Father Marko Rupnik, S.J., the predator of nuns, traveled to June in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina, after completing the renovation of a Franciscan church for which Rupnik's company created a 700 square meter mosaic. He is currently planning the restoration of the chapel of the Bishop of Hvar. On paper, Rupnik is forbidden to leave Rome and its surroundings and to accept new commissions. As recently as June 3rd, Francis used one of Rupnik's artworks for a video message. So do as I say, not as I do. Rupnik is banned. Oh, but he's traveling all over the place. Kind of like Benedict's restriction on McCarrick, right? Yeah, might as well say that. And oh, Pope Francis removed those restrictions from Benedict on McCarrick. And Cardinal Farrell, that was McCarrick's roommate, had no idea that he was molesting all these seminarians. And I'll bet he had no idea. And he's got himself some really nice positions in the Francis Church. Cardinal Farrell, that is. McCarrick, he probably has more of a background position. Just throwing it out there. All right, USCCB meeting this week. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. As from what I understand, Thursday and Friday the sessions will be publicly live streamed. You can catch coverage on this channel. I haven't read so much. Let's go. If you have a second, let me go to the USCCB website and I can tell you. I can sort of read through what the schedule is here. It's the USCCB General Assembly, and it's for the first time maybe. It's in Orlando, Florida. Are they going to Disney? Because okay, yeah, we'll just kind of let that pass by. Orlando is the home of Disney, by the way. So I bet Disney is all rainbowed up for this month to corrupt children and groom them. And anyway, the general sessions will be streamed on June 15th and 16th, which I believe is Thursday and Friday. And so I'm going to have a really fun time on Thursday and Friday and maybe a little bit into Saturday browsing through all this video footage, and it's just part of what it is. We'll see if any bishops blaspheme, promote heresy. Some of the bishops, some modernists have expressed concern that the synod is not on the agenda, which is actually a good thing because the synod is all about LMNOP and women priests, which is of course heresy. They're going to talk about the Eucharistic revival, as well as participation in World Youth Day with Pope Francis in Lisbon this August, Lisbon, Portugal. But I heard that with his recent hospitalization, he may not make it there. So are they going to cancel it? I heard that it might be canceled if he doesn't make it there. I mean, that's probably for the better. Okay, so I'm looking through the agenda right now. The USCCB is going to discuss a plan for the ongoing formation of priests, which provides some guidance for priests to continue their personal and priestly formation following ordination of the priesthood. Oh boy, you know what could really help? The Latin Mass. Oh, but that won't be discussed because Pope Francis hates it. Okay. Let's see here. What else? Oh boy. Remaining 3. Okay, so there's they're going to address approval of translations, the liturgy of the hours, and liturgical texts for Saint Faustina Kowalska. Yeah, nothing pre-conciliar, as they say. A development of a process for a new pastoral statement addressing persons with disabilities in the life of the church. Okay, so nothing blatantly, what would I say, like glaringly horrific. There's a national pastoral plan for the Hispanic Latino ministry. Okay. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of what would you say, sensationalist topics, hot button issues. Of course, depending on who speaks, I know they're going to spew heresy. Some of them, this could be a light one. There's not, like I said, there's not a lot of controversy, at least in the agenda for this meeting. But at the same time, the Eucharistic revival, we're going to hear, as we heard in this video at the beginning, Bishop Stowe is basically demeaning adoration. So we'll see. Hopefully he gets heckled if he makes any rotten heretical comments like he did in that article. And I expect him to have a strong voice there because he always is bold and he's emboldened by his heresy. And he's not afraid to shove it down other people's throats. Same with McElroy. He makes it no secret that he is an enemy of the faith. And that's exactly what these people are. And I wish that other people would speak this very obvious fact. Bishops, I wish bishops and priests would speak these obvious facts. These people are enemies of the faith. McElroy, Stowe, the group of them, they're enemies of the faith. Someone needs to say it. I'm just a random guy on YouTube. The bishop needs to say it. Paprocki more or less said McElroy was a heretic, and then he kind of backpedaled and whatever. But he is. It's true. Argentina. Yeah, Argentina erected a statue of a famous bouncer. Farrell was shocked. Thanks for joining, Patty. It's always good to see you in the comments. All right, so busy week. Well, busy end of the week, and then, of course, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a golf fan, and it's the U.S. Open golf tournament. So as soon as I'm done watching the USCCB, I'll be able to watch something I actually enjoy. That'll be golf, and that'll be that. So, and it's also Friday is a feast of the Sacred Heart. So I believe that can be, what do you say, transferred. The feast can be transferred to Sunday, I believe. I believe that's fully within the rubrics for the Feast of the Sacred Heart to be transferred to Sunday. But of course, you know, June is the month of the Sacred Heart. It's always interesting to pray novenas, like in the seasons they occur. So like the novena of Pentecost, the novena of the Sacred Heart. And of course, if you have a devotion to a specific saint, then pray a novena before the saint's day. That's always, you know, an interesting thing to do. And you can look up a traditional novena. Some of them are really short, but I was fortunate to stumble upon a very old book of novenas. It's like a really small one, smaller than like a Latin Mass Missal. But the novenas are pretty intense. They have a litany and prayers that are a few pages long, and so it's not just a simple like paragraph. It's, you know, you have to dedicate at least a little bit of time to it. But I don't know, hopefully it'll be worth it. And yeah, it's just always interesting to prepare for feast days by praying novenas in anticipation of the feast day. Get yourself access to a traditional calendar. You can find one online pretty easily. And some of the really neat calendars have like days of the novena. So like the first day of the novena, and then leading up to, you know, the feast day. So anyway, this is it for EVTN News today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we are the laity, and we will not be silent.